Hi everyone and welcome back to Bisola's Kitchen, and today we'll be making some lasagna. So first things first, I'm going to start stir frying my minced beef. As you can see, I didn't add any oil to it because I'm using 20% fat and it's going to release a lot of oil anyway, and we don't want it to be super oily. I'm going to season it with some crushed black pepper, some garlic granules, then I'm gonna go in with some mixed herbs. You can add thyme if you want to. You can add in some oregano. That'll be really good for this recipe. I'm gonna use some all-purpose seasoning and just put a little bit of that all over it. And lastly, I'm gonna go in with some paprika powder. As you notice, I'm not adding in any salt because most of these seasonings already have salt inside and I don't want the dish to be too salty. And I'm gonna mix that all together. Now the beef has turned brown and you can see it's released a lot of its oil, and I'm going to add half an onion and 3 cloves of garlic, and now the oil that's being released from the beef is going to help cook those onions and simmer them down. So I'm going to mix that together and I'm going to leave it to simmer for 5 minutes, or just wait till the onions become translucent. So now the onions are translucent and I'm going to go in with my tomato sauce. You can use tomato puree, you can use fresh tomatoes, chopped tomatoes from a can, but I really like the taste that this one gives. And I'm going to go in with some water and get rid of all the excess that's been left and just pour it in to make sure nothing wastes. And I think I'm going to do that again. So as you can see now, there's a lot of moisture in the pot and we want to cook it down and reduce. What's really important that do not season this now. Season it when it has reduced, because you may season it now because it's really watery, you may think it's not flavorful, and then when everything simmers down, it can become super salty. So this has been after 20 minutes and as you can see, the sauce has simmered down a lot, but there's a little bit of moisture and I really want to cook that out. And so I'm going to leave that to simmer for another 5 minutes. I have my lasagna noodles and I'm going to boil them. You don't have to boil them if you want to because they're still going to cook again in the oven, but I just like to boil them and just make sure they're al dente and not cooked through, because your lasagna noodles can end up mushy. If you see me hesitating, I'm just counting how many lasagna noodles to put. I'm doing 3 layers, so I do 6, but I always add in 2 extra just in case one cracks, one sticks together, or just in case something goes wrong. And then it's been after, let's say 7 minutes, and the lasagna sauce has really reduced and it's gotten thicker. So I'm going to switch off the stove and leave that to cool, and then I'm going to drain my lasagna noodles in a colander. Now I'm going to start layering my lasagna. I'm just going to add a little bit of minced beef to the bottom and just spread it out, not too much because remember we're going to do another 2 layers and want to save as much as possible. Then I'm going to go in with my lasagna noodles. Like I mentioned previously, you can use lasagna noodles that haven't been boiled, but I just feel like it's much easier because they can move more, they're more malleable, and the ones that are fresh from the box are really hard. Then I'm going to put in another layer of that lasagna sauce on top. Just spread it out and make sure it's nice and leveled and even. Next, I'm going to go in with some cheese sauce. This is the creamy cucina one that I got from Aldi. You don't have to do this. You can use just regular cheese if you want to, mozzarella. You can use homemade cheese sauce if you like, but I really like the flavor that this gives because it's nice and smoky. Then I'm going to go in with just a little layer of mozzarella cheese. I just feel like it helps it taste better and stick to the noodles I'll put on top. I'm going to repeat the same step and layer this again. And once that's layered, I'm going to go in with my lasagna sauce again and just spread that out all over. So if you notice, there's some gaps at the corner of my lasagna, and then I'm going to go in with the extra noodles that I boiled, remember, and I'm going to use that to fill up the gaps. That's why it's really important to boil at least 1 extra noodle because you don't know what could happen. Then I'm going to go in with my cheese sauce and just spread that all over. It may look a bit messy, but remember that this is going to go back in the oven and this is going to melt all over. And to substitute the cheese sauce, you could even use ricotta cheese. I've seen people use that and I've heard it's really nice, so I might do an updated recipe using ricotta cheese. I'm going to go in with some mozzarella cheese and just sprinkle that all over. And then I'm going to apply my final layer. So repeating the same steps, I'm going to apply my lasagna noodles on top, then apply my lasagna sauce, my cheese sauce, and then my cheese. Now this is the final batch, so this is why it's really important, because even if you don't know how to control it, I suggest you portion out your sauces into 3 if you always end up with a little bit of lasagna sauce left out for the top. But I'm really good at portioning it out, so as you can see, this is the last batch, so everything is going to cover all the noodles on top and there won't be any spaces left. And as I've shown previously, I'm going to go in with my cheese sauce and just apply that on top. You can use more or less cheese sauce if you want, but I like the flavor that it gives. And going in with all my grated mozzarella, I'm going to apply all of it on top and make sure all of it is covered. You don't have to apply cheese on top, but I really like how it looks because it just makes the top really crispy. And finally, I'm going to garnish it with some parsley and mixed herbs and sprinkle that all over. You can use oregano on top, you can use dried thyme on top, you could even use paprika, you could remove the parsley or not put anything on top. It's totally up to you, but I really like putting the mixed herbs on top because of the aroma, and the parsley because it just makes everything look so pretty. And now I'm going to put this into my oven that's been preheated to 200 degrees and leave this in for about 30 minutes. So because I want all the cheese to melt. And this is the finished result. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, which will be linked in the description box below. And goodbye.